In the history of General Motors, there have only been 7 vice presidents of design: Harley Earl, Bill Mitchell, Irv Ribicki, Chuck Jordan, Wayne Cherry, Ed Welburn, and Michael Simcoe. Ed Welburn would become the very first among them to become the global vice president of design. His journey to becoming a part of automotive history began on a street in Philadelphia.
I'll never forget the very first Corvette I saw. I was like 5 years old, and I'm walking down this road with my mother, and it was in the fall of the year. I mean, this is so vivid, this memory. It was the fall of the year, bright colored leaves everywhere, and I'm kicking them as I'm walking. And I saw this vehicle about a block ahead of us come out of a side street. And it started coming towards us, and it's kicking up leaves just like I was. It was blue in color, metallic blue, and it had this wire mesh over the headlamp. And as it went by, you could see the tail lamp with these little fins coming off of it. And it had this great rumble to the exhaust. That was the first Corvette I ever saw. It's the first car that I remember really paying attention to.
At 8 years old, Ed would go to a car expo and see a concept Cadillac that stopped him in his tracks. He knew right then that he wanted to be a designer for the company that created that car. He wrote GM a letter asking for guidance, and they wrote back to him.
Because I wasn't sure, what design was. Was it art? Was it engineering? What exactly was it? And they helped to give me guidance around that. And they gave me a list of schools. That led me to Howard University in their School of Fine Arts. It was a great experience because the instructors understood what my mission was. They knew that I wanted to be a car designer, and they did absolutely everything they could to help me prepare. School of Fine Arts was like the movie Fame because it was art, music, and drama. Roberta Flack was there, Donny Hathaway was there, Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, all these musicians and actors and artists all in this community. And in many ways, that gave me an experience far more diverse, more full of energy than going to a very focused design school.
Ed would eventually get a job at GM. He would work on a number of vehicles, including the design for a concept vehicle for Oldsmobile called the Aerotech. He brought a passion for his work and the natural leadership skills needed for advancement. However, not everybody believed it would happen for him.
There were those who felt as though that an African American will never be, and I was actually told, would never be an executive, be a chief designer or an executive in General Motors, and that I should just get used to being in the level that I was in. I was told that by someone who was trying to be helpful, somebody who was sincere and really wanted to help me. I get emotional and I think about it. If anything though, it kind of gave me the push, the energy to push even harder.
He stayed on that path until it took him to the top spot at design at what was then the world's largest automaker, breaking barriers and making history along the way. He revitalized GM design when he took over in 2003, earning numerous successes and awards in short order. For many of us, the work done by Ed and his team instilled a renewed sense of pride about GM design that still exists today.
And another thing that's notable about Ed is through his career, he was very generous with his time, mentoring and paving the way for many young designers.
When Ed became VP, he was like no other that had come before that I've experienced. And again, in his passion, his confidence, he just had a sense about him, an aura about him that it was inspiring. You felt creative, and I think he's one of those leaders that you want to do your very best for.
Ed Welburn was a great guy to work for. He inspired creativity. He would listen patiently to our crazy ideas and that, but still inspired us to take on more challenges, and that he was fun to work with. And I would tell you, the neat thing about Ed is Ed would let Tom Peters be Tom Peters, and he would let Kirk Benyon be Kirk Benyon. we produced our best stuff that way. Ed wasn't a dictator, he was an inspiration, he was an inspirer to us.
The creative energy generated in the design studios under Ed's leadership would get transmitted into production vehicles on the streets, infusing them with character and personality. The product line was transformed into vehicles that would attract so much attention that even Hollywood took notice.
Michael Bay was working on the first Transformer movie in the early stages, and he wanted something very special. He had a relationship with GM, and folks from GM said, you know, this secret Camaro you're working on would probably be the right vehicle to play the part of Bumblebee. He came in and saw the Camaro and said, that's it, that's Bumblebee.
Another character in the Transformers film was a Corvette called Sideswipe. This was a concept vehicle that Tom Peters had first sketched out before Ed became the head of design. This vision for Corvette wasn't well received until Ed came along and took a look at it. That's when it became a full-size running car and then a movie star.
Ed was instrumental in the development of the 2009 Corvette Stingray concept. It was a futuristic vision of Corvette's technology and design. He was also key in the development and launch of the 2014 Corvette Stingray.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is the new Corvette.
He nurtured a creative and inclusive and customer-focused culture among the designers that truly strengthened our global brands.
There is no better example of collaboration than what happens with Corvette. I call it the circle of knowledge. This whole collaboration between Corvette engineering, Corvette design, Corvette racing, and the customer. How they all learn from each other and build on it in a very positive way. I know the race team benefits by the shape that is created. They all know each other and work together, and the customer benefits.
Car and Driver described Ed as the man who brought beauty back to General Motors. And they weren't just talking about his good looks. Under his leadership, the Stingray name was reborn. He reintroduced the famous or infamous Secret Studio X, hidden away at GM Design to do clandestine work on Corvettes, including what became the C8.
Ed's creative imprint is on more than 4 decades of GM's concept and production cars, trucks, and crossovers. He was enthusiastic, and it was frankly contagious and inspired everyone around him.
He continues to inspire young people and future generations of car designers, especially any impressionable 5-year-olds out there who happen to see a Corvette cruising down the street.
Congratulations, Ed. It was a pleasure working for you.
Ed, from the bottom of my heart, congratulations to becoming a member of the Corvette Hall of Fame.
Thank you and congratulations, my friend Ed, and thank you for all you've done for Corvette and General Motors.
For bringing beauty back to GM and leading the team that would make Corvette a Stingray again, we proudly welcome Ed Welburn into the Corvette Hall of Fame.